Alright, so let's continue. Now there is something which I kind of realized after recording the last video, which is a better way to check whether the book is already in the cart. I mean, it's fine considering the size of our application, but if we know that there is a better way, then why not? Let's go with that. So currently we are converting the entire thing into an array and checking the book name in that array, which is fine, but there's a better way. So over here, let me just explain that thing. So over here, consider that this is the cart that we have. So this would be the book name and this would be the quantity. So we have the option of directly checking that whether that thing is already in the cart. Alright, so that's what it is. We can check it in this way, and we can coerce this value by adding double ampersand in such a way. So if we look for something which is not in our cart, then it's going to be false. And in technical perspective, we are basically checking for a field for an item in an object. So if there is, then it's going to be that quantity, and assuming that the quantity is always going to be greater than 0, because if we coerce 0, it's false. So obviously if it's in the cart, then it's either 1 or more than that. So we can use this way. Let's actually do that right over here. Let's remove the entire thing. We have the cart book.name, and let's coerce the value, and we're gonna have the same thing as what we had earlier. So let's see, that's perfect. Oops, something going on. I just noticed something. Okay, why is that? Okay, let's actually again sucker for perfection. So let's do that over here. Let's get to the book item, and now so 1 second, this is the stack and this is the thing. So this is the stack and this is the right one. So when we add it, why does it moves upside? So that's something to think about. I suppose the size of the button is the one making the difference. And yeah, that's what it is, because we have set the align items to be off center. So both the items are going to align in the center, and once like the other one, the right one, loses, or to say the height of it decreases, then it does kind of add that sort of thing where the left one also adjusts itself. So in order to fix this, maybe if we do flex start, let's see, and then in that case it should stick to its place, and that's perfect. That's good. That's what we want. Beautiful. So now let's continue with the other functions. Let's get to the home page over here. So let's create another function, and this one would be to increase quantity. And there is one thing that is kind of bothering me. I kind of like, instead of handle add item to cart, we could have done like handle add book to cart, something like that, a bit more respective to the, like in regards to the application. But anyway, it's pretty clear. Anyway, so let's create the function which would be handle increase qty quantity, and for this we just need the name once again. So let's actually copy the same thing right over here, and we have the old state, right? So we can just check the name in such a way, and we can plus, like we can increase the quantity. And let's actually let's test this one out, and let's also display the quantity figure in the quantity manager. So over here, let's do that. Increase item quantity to be of this. increase item quantity. Yeah, I think it should be handle increase item quantity. And I know that sometimes I kind of give long ass names to functions and variables, but I kind of prefer being as clear as possible, so that if we even if we get back to it at a later point, it's pretty clear. Anyway, so now let's get to the books component, and right over here we have the on click. So now let's pass the same thing. First we need to destructure increase item quantity, and we're going to name it as increase quantity in the perspective of book item. So it's going to be increase quantity. Let's call this function. And now within the book item, let's get over here again. Let me just kind of I don't want you to be confused, so I'm gonna split the screen for better understanding, trying my best so that you understand what have I done. Oops. Yup. So this is book item and this is the home page. Let's split it again and let's hide the terminal, man, come on. Okay, so this is the home page, and the reason why I'm doing this is because I know that we are doing a bit of prop drilling, so I don't want you to feel lost anywhere. So let's just recap what we did. So we created a function, this function we are passing it down as a prop right over here. We are destructuring the same thing over here in the books component, the parent of all the books, and we are passing it down again to the book item component right over here. All right, so then we are passing down the same thing. We haven't done that yet, but we are gonna do that just now. And there is actually one other thing. The thing is that instead of implementing the logic in the book item, I kind of prefer to abstract the entire thing and just pass it down the mere things which it should call, and just kind of keep the logic where it is supposed to be, like not throw in the entire thing. Let it be the dumb component and let this be the smart one. So keeping that in mind, let me actually remove all this, it's really confusing me. So keeping that in mind, over here in the books component, what we can do is again pass down a callback. And over here we can call book.name in such a way. Let's also pass down the, well, we are already passing the cart, are we? So we are passing down the cart. Let's also pass down another one, which would be quantity of this book item, and for that we can do cart square brackets and book.name in such a way, because the value of it is quantity. So now let's head to the book item component. I'm gonna split the screen again and let's open the book item in this way, making sure that we destructure the props that we just added. First is quantity and the other one is increase quantity. Now that I think of it, we could have merged these two together, add item to cart and increase item quantity, but let's just keep it the way that it is. Anyway, so now what we can do, let's give it some space. So now we have these two, we have to pass them down to the quantity manager right over here. So let's pass it down. And now within the quantity manager, later we will also be passing reduce quantity. Let's actually do that right now, but we would not use it just for the purpose of like, so that we do not miss this thing out. Obviously we won't, but let's pass it down over here. Reduce quantity in this way. So now within the quantity manager, we need to destructure these things. So let's destructure all of these props that we added. Whoops. And now let's bind them. So let's use them. Let's use the QTY, and on the icon button we can just pass down on click to be of increase quantity. We're gonna do the same thing for the decrease one, but let's just test the increase quantity first. So let's head back and let me just refresh so that, let's see. So now if we add an item to the cart, there it is. Perfect. And now if I click on plus button, voila, that's beautiful. So that's working. We have the state which is updating, so that is great. That's perfect. All right, so that is great. Now we just need to work on the reduce quantity bit. Let's do that over in the index pages. By the way, the thing that I was saying that we could have merged these two, I still stick with that. Should we do that? Should we do that? Handle add item to cart and handle increase item quantity. Maybe like the thing which I'm trying to say is that over here we could have kind of check that whether the item is already in the cart. If not, the quantity should be 1. If it is, then it should be +1. So it's actually pretty simple. But should we do it? Oh man, fuck it, why not? So let's do that. So over here I'm gonna name it as handle increase item quantity. So we're gonna stick with this thing. Alright, so this means that we will be removing this thing entirely. Increase, this one is handle increase item quantity. Yeah, so we're just gonna stick with that. So over here we can just check whether the old thing, whether it already has name, which means whether it's already in the cart. We will be coercing the value. So if this thing is true, then it means it's already in the cart. Then we would just increase the quantity. Otherwise we will be setting it as 1. So let's say our goodbye to this thing and making sure that we remove this part as well. And let's get to the books component. Over here where we have add item to cart, saying a goodbye to this as well as to this. Let's do that. By the way, what was the name of it? It's on click. So that's something to keep in mind, that this is whoops. This is on click, right? And now it's gonna be increase quantity. So let's say a goodbye and to you too. Let's get to the book item, and where we are using on click, let's remove this, and where we are using on click over here, it would be increase quantity. And I'm really very sorry if this felt like a bit complicated. Again, this entire series is transparent, it's the raw thing. So things like this always happen when you're building something from scratch. So in other words, let me first try it, otherwise it would be really awkward. So let's see. Now if I click on add to cart, boom, 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 boom. So that's working. Beautiful. So now let's work on the reducing of quantity, and for that let's get to the index pages, which is over here. And now let's work on this thing. I feel that the video is getting a bit lengthy, so let me first check it right now. Where is it? Yep, it's already 15 minutes, so I guess I'm gonna cut it down right now, and let's continue with the same thing in the next one. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. So yeah, see you in the next one.